I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Welcome, AfterBuzzers, to the Season 1, Episode 10, Meet the Frasers finale. It's been a crazy 2 months, and I couldn't have asked for a better finale. I was in tears. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I was completely wrong. I predicted she was going to say no, the proposal wasn't going to happen, but they definitely pulled it off. I'm your host, Karla, and I'm doing a solo show tonight. My panelists are a little under the weather, and considering what's going on, I think it's best that they get their rest. So it'll be just me today. Today we're going to be talking about Maria and Matt replanning the proposal. Alexa is mad at Matt, the proposal itself, and Alexa being the second runner-up of the Miss Rhode Island pageant. It's definitely been a build-up to this episode, and I couldn't be any more pleased. I did feel really bad, though, at the beginning of the episode. We see how stressed Matt is. I felt so bad for him. He looks so worried. I feel like we've seen so many of his emotions throughout these last 10 episodes. I think we've seen him like feisty, sassy, happy, mad, irritated, and he just looked super stressed. And I don't blame him. I think it was a really crazy storm that was happening in Florida that day. It wasn't like a little bit of sprinkling or light rain. It was a heavy storm, which completely threw off his whole proposal. And to make matters worse, he can't even replan it himself because Alexa is on his case about being on his phone the whole time. So he's completely depending on Maria to pull this off, which I'm sure couldn't be any easier for her. But I feel like she did an amazing job just because, as she mentioned in the episode, she herself went through a really crappy proposal. She mentions that her ex proposed to her at a mall jewelry store. She said no, and then they went to B-Dubs, Buffalo Wild Wings. Sorry, that's my way of saying Buffalo Wild Wings. So I feel like for that reason, because she's experienced already an awful proposal, she really went above and beyond. And it must have been super stressful for Matt just because he was walking into a situation that he had no control over, no idea what it would look like. But he really, really trusted her. And in that episode, you see him telling her, like, I love you so much. Thank you. I love you. And I thought it was super sweet. You never really see their soft side. And I feel like you mainly kind of see them like breaking at each other. But in this specific episode, you really see how they really do love each other and they have each other's back, which is everything I've been asking for this whole time, just real, genuine relationships, seeing their bond. So we really got to see that. But in the middle of all of this happening and Matt trying to pull this proposal off, Alexa's getting very, very impatient, and I don't blame her. As a girlfriend, the last thing you want to do is go away, spend quality time with your significant other, and they're on their phone the whole time. I think maybe she could have been a little more understanding considering that he was saying it was work. He has a big business to run. There's a lot of things he has going on and he's juggling at one time. And they like nice things. So unfortunately, you kind of have to work your butt off for things like that. But I can see how she was frustrated, mainly because she's in the middle of pageant prep also. She didn't say yes to going right off the bat. He kind of had to convince her into it. So I don't necessarily think that's where she wanted to be. So she kind of budged for him, and now they're there, and he's not necessarily giving her his full attention. So I can see how she got super frustrated. I felt so bad when she texted her mom, letting her know that he was on his phone so much, and she was upset. She wanted to be prepping for the pageant. And when you text your mom, that's how you know you're hurt. You need to vent to someone. You go to the wisest person you know, which in a lot of situations is your mom. And her mom is so funny. She's like, I want to tell her to stop just being a crybaby, basically, because she has no idea what's coming for her. But I can see how she was frustrated. I feel like that happens a lot of times when you're getting proposed to. As women, obviously, we don't know, so we like to complain when we feel like men are acting a little bit sketchy, which definitely was the case in this situation. But obviously the result was amazing, so it was well worth it. It's funny because at the end of the proposal, he kind of says, do you feel bad for yelling at me and being mean to me now? And she's in tears saying yes. It was amazing. Now getting to the proposal, the big proposal. They knocked it out of the park. It was gorgeous. I'm kind of glad it rained, actually, just because it was so beautiful. I'm sure would have been just as beautiful outside, but the way everything was set up, the thousands of rose petals, the candles, the little sprinkly lights that were outside, everything was gorgeous. You couldn't have asked for anything more. And what I loved even more about the proposal was that he did it in private, which I think is really, really big considering how big of a family he has. Not big in numbers, but big in personalities. I feel like they would have maybe been a little too loud or kind of taken the attention away from Matt and Alexa. So I'm glad he did it by himself. I feel like when it's just you two, you can really just be present, be in the moment, say exactly what you want to say, just because you're not worried about people watching you or maybe worrying they're going to say the wrong thing or that they're judging you. I think he made the best choice possible. It was sweet. Everything about the proposal, the way he kind of explains his love to her, saying that he thinks she's perfect in every single way, which I think is what every woman wants to hear. And when he gets down on one knee, I was worried about that mainly because he was practicing in the room with Maria the episode before, and he was having trouble getting down on one knee. He wasn't going down smoothly. Not that I've ever tried, but I can see how, you can easily fumble over. So I was like, hopefully this goes well, because it didn't go well once in the episode prior, but everything came out perfect. When he took the ring out, the box had a little light flashing on the ring, which was gorgeous. And then she says, "This is my dream ring with my dream person." And it's just like a fairy tale. What more can you really want? You can tell they're crazy in love. They both cry, which I thought was crazy because Matt is I'm sure he is emotional, but he probably has a harder time showing his emotions. And even she was super surprised to see him get so emotional, but he did. And I feel like it made it that much more sincere. And shortly after the proposal, they call her mom, and little does she know her family's actually there in the next room, and they walk on in, and her cry was everything. If you guys have ever seen the meme of Kim Kardashian's crying face, replica to Alexa's crying face, it's just maybe not the cutest face, but just because you're so in the moment and so happy that you forget to think about what you look like and you're just crying. It's an ugly cry, but it's from such a happy place that it was like funny and sweet at the same time. And I love that everyone was there, that they came after, they could celebrate with them. I think I was surprised that she did say yes. I'm glad she did. I think it was necessary for the relationship. They'd been together for 3 years. I think she was very vocal about wanting to be engaged. So I think it was the next step for them. And later on in this episode, toward the end, we actually see fast forward to the next 3 months of their lives after leaving Florida and getting engaged. And you see Alexa in her Miss Rhode Island pageant. I am so glad that she still went through with that. I thought after our last episode, we did some research and we found that you couldn't compete in pageants anymore if you were engaged or any form of married. So that was a bummer, to think that she wouldn't be able to be a part of the pageant. But I'm assuming there's some sort of loophole to it. So she still was. And she looked absolutely beautiful. Her body was banging. She looked gorgeous, just like I thought she would. And she was top 3, which is amazing. It's so, like, pageants are so hard. You basically have to be a perfect human, perfect walk, perfect body, be articulate, just be the most well-rounded person. And she came in top 3, second runner up, and the whole family was there supporting her, which was super amazing. And at the end, when she didn't win, we see her and Matt trying on wedding dresses. I thought it was maybe a little interesting. I thought you weren't supposed to let the groom see you in your wedding dress. And according to what we saw, he actually helped her choose her wedding dress. So I don't know if this is bad luck, but I hope it's not, because I don't want any bad juju on their relationship. But I think the man should definitely be a little surprised on the big day. So maybe she'll do more than one dress. maybe she'll do a couple and then he can be surprised with the other ones. You never know. You know, they're over the top. So they're definitely going to, I'm sure, spice it up. And overall, I'm just super satisfied with the way this ended. We don't know yet if there's going to be a season 2 of Meet the Frasers, but if there are, I think it would definitely consist of a lot of wedding planning, the family being involved, maybe pressuring for some grandkids. I think they're definitely ready. And maybe a little of Angela being jealous or territorial over Matt, because we do see her mention after he gets engaged that she feels like now maybe she's second in his life, which I think definitely will be a reoccurring issue maybe at the beginning of their engagement or marriage, because I think women are very attached to their babies and it's hard to let go. But Alexa's a good woman, and I think Angela should have no problem just giving them his blessing and trusting that she's going to be an amazing wife to him. And she's obviously, no one can replace your mom, so I think she has nothing to worry about. But it's been amazing. Thank you so much for watching. And I do want to get into one last special segment for all of you of a day in the life. So since our last episode, I wanted to look up what it's like basically to have a reading, to let you guys know if you're walking into a reading, this is what you have to look forward to, and some expectations to maybe not walk in with. So I did a little digging, and a few different mediums basically just gave some advice to people who are looking to go consult with the medium. So the first thing is
AfterBuzz TV exclusive.
Every spirit communicates differently with mediums. So
sorry guys, that was just a little bit of spirit from the booth here.
No worries. Every spirit communicates very differently. So the mediums do their best to obviously break down the readings, but to not walk in with maybe, let's say, your expectations, because you have to walk in with an open mind basically into these situations. Leave your preconceived expectations at the door. If you would like to receive the best reading and experience possible, it is a good idea to have a few questions ready and maybe a few things you want to focus on in the reading, so that the person is able to kind of give the reading a direction. And when the medium is tapping into your loved ones, to know maybe what to ask or what to look for. It is also very common that some information that comes through the readings may not make sense at the moment, but to not forget about those things that don't make sense, because a lot of the time you may not know specifically, but you can ask like your mom, dad, aunt. You can ask your loved ones, and maybe through them you can find answers, which I think is very common. I've had one myself, and there was things I didn't get about the reading, but after showing it to a couple of my friends, the messages weren't actually for me, they were for other people. So it's good to kind of take notes or maybe even have a recording of it and look over it many times. And it's also important, maybe even beforehand, to do your homework on your family history, or go to your mom and dad or your loved ones and see who they have that have passed on. 'Cause a lot of the times they will come in during your reading and they may not make sense for you, but it may be a message for someone else. And they also want you to know that when they hear names, to keep in mind that they're not actually physically hearing them like they hear you. They hear them in their thoughts, and that spirits don't always specify if it's like your mother, father, grandfather. So be open-minded about that you're always not going to get a specific name or who they were to you. And the last thing I want to mention about what to expect is to not be afraid when you're going to a medium. It's not something to be afraid of. They're not afraid either. The communication with your loved ones is mainly with the purpose of healing and for closing, let's say, wounds you may have, and that it's a positive thing, and to not walk into it thinking it's something maybe harmful or evil, because that's definitely not the case. So if you're looking to go to a medium, these are some things to definitely keep in mind. I am super about this. I've had one reading myself, and I'm hopefully will have many more. I think it's super amazing to be able to talk to your loved ones that have passed on, and you want to know that they're doing good, and that you want to be able to tell them that you still think about them. until next time, you can actually find me on Instagram at Karla Contreras and Twitter at Karla_C. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully we'll be here for a season 2. See you then.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.